Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the most important recording projects ever. Not the greatest recordings ever. This is the older series. Remember that? I mean, we're still doing these as they pop up. And actually, this is something I've wanted to talk about for such a long time. And some of you encouraged me, and then because I didn't do it, maybe you gave up in frustration. So I'm bringing it back for this particular purpose. The most important recording project in the world, no, of all time, is the complete works of Hinrich Schtz. There he is, Hinrich Schtz. There it is on Carus label. Superb performances featuring the Dresden Chamber Choir, the Dresden Chamber Choir under Hans-Christoph Rademann. Really, really first-rate stuff. These are 3 volumes, 3 chunky volumes. And you get, 9 plus 8 plus 11, 28 CDs. So it's a very, very considerable undertaking. Now, Schütz lived from 1585 to 1672. He had a very long life. He wrote a ton of music. Not all of it survives. What survives is almost entirely sacred works, sacred vocal works. He also wrote the first major German opera, supposedly, Daphne, and all other theatrical things and whatnot, but they've all been lost. They've all disappeared. What survives is his sacred music, and he was a master of sacred music. He is credited, if you look at his dates, 1585 to 1672, for bringing the Italian Baroque, early Italian Baroque style to Germany. He was the father of the German Baroque. And that is a big, big deal because when you think about it, 1672, just a decade and a bit after he died, Bach was born and Handel was born and the great German masters, Buxtehude was, whizzing around Lübeck and the German Baroque really got hopping. And a lot of it was due to the mastery of Hinrich Schtz and his heavily Italian-influenced work, but which he reinterpreted in terms of the German language and German style. So what do we get in these 3 masterful volumes? Well, they are quite serious, as I said. Let's see, Volume 1, Box 1. There you go, Box 1. You get Die Gesamteinspiel. This is the complete edition, right? Okay, so he wrote a whole bunch of things called Geistliche Chormusik, sacred choral music, and on multiple CDs. So you get, from 1648, you get a pile of those, and his Italian madrigals. Musikalische Exekien, he did a bunch of those. That's stuff for funerals, largely, music for mourning, mournful occasions. 12 sacred songs, his Cantiones Sacrae, which are gorgeous. Oh my God. The sacred songs, just sacred songs. They're often psalm settings and things like that, and they are based on the polychoral style of the Gabrielli's times and things. Oh, they're just rich and gorgeous and marvelously expressive and beautiful, beautiful works. Then we have his passion settings, the Lucas Passion and the 7 Last Words. His passion settings are extremely austere. They're essentially chant settings in a way. They're chant settings, and I find them to be rather difficult to take in large doses. Frankly, they're not meant like the Bach St. Matthew Passion. They are meant to be very straightforward, syllabic recountings of the story set to the minimum of music. They sound a lot, actually, like some Arvo Pärt stuff. I mean, some of his works, which in his more austere mode, harken back all the way to Schütz. Let's see, the kind of Geistliche Konzert, the small sacred concert. Then the Psalms of David, which are some of his richest and most gorgeous pieces. Again, they're very similar to those big Venetian polychoral things because he studied in Italy. So that's what we get in Box 1. So you've got those people. Box 2. Is this Box 2? No, this is Box 3. Box 2. Here's Box 2, which has 8 CDs. It has the Auferstehungshistorie, the resurrection story, the Christmas story, the St. Matthew Passion, his Symphonie Sacrae 3, because there were several volumes of them, sacred symphonies. In those days, a symphony did not mean symphony, like a symphony. It meant to sound together. sacred music, essentially. So they're sacred motets and works like that, but they're not in anything like resembling what you would think a symphony is. The Johannes Passion, the St. John Passion, and Symphony Sacrée number 1. So that's all in box number 2. And box number 3, which I think is this one, I hope, yes, it is, contains, let's see, his Becker Psalter, psalm settings from the particular that he created for that particular book. Schwanengesang, last works, his swan song. The Keine Geistliche Konzerte 2, the second series of smaller ensemble sacred works, smaller in size. The second volume of Symphonie Sacrée, which are just, one of the glories of the early Baroque. Madrigals and wedding music. And finally, psalms and Friedensmusik, as in music to celebrate peace, exactly, essentially, the peace of something, the ending of, there was always some war going on, the 100 Years' War, one of those wars, the 30 Years' War, the some years of war. Anyway, let's see. So that's it. That's what you get. And I wish I could play you some, but I had permission from Carus, but then they got a new third-party, content regulator type thing, and I started getting copyright claims, and they, wouldn't do anything about it. So yeah, that was that. But it is a tremendously important series, magnificent performances of important music, beautifully performed. A little bit goes a long way. I grant you that. You may not want to get all 3 volumes at once, but they were all issued separately. They come with really extensive booklets. Let me just show you in here. You get all of the booklets from the original releases, and they were very, very well written and comprehensive. And they also give you texts and translations, which is really good. Do we have, or is it just text without translations? Pardon me. Text without translations, but you got texts, which is helpful. And let me see, is there anything here that I need to know? No. Yeah, there you go. Lots of texts. And the important thing is that all of the documentation will get you a long way towards absorbing some of this music in its particular style. Get the Psalms of David, get the Symphonie Sacrée, and maybe the Kleine Geistliche Konzerte, those things. Those are the major things. Everything else you can fill in if you find yourself becoming a Schütznik. Otherwise, Psalms of David and Symphonie Sacrée will do you. But the fact that this entire edition exists is a big deal. It's a discographic landmark. And so I have no hesitation in pointing it out as such. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.